For many of you, depending on how long you've been in business, you don't need more leads. You don't need more referral partners. What you need is more from your current client base. Look, it's not your fault. You probably didn't go to school for business or you didn't study marketing. You don't understand things like cost to acquire a client, nor do you understand lifetime value of a client. But what if I told you there was a way for you to double your income, double your production without needing more? And what if we could walk you through exactly how you can do this or have access to this type of marketing? Well, in today's episode, I have a special guest who flew in from Phoenix, Arizona to explain how his company is helping originators do more, earn more, fund more, but without needing more referral partners. You're going to want to check this out. They don't teach this shit in school, but they should. Welcome to the Loan Officer Podcast, hosted by me, Dustin Owen, one of the most influential people in the mortgage industry, along with my friends who've lived it, built it, failed at it, fixed it, and scaled it. This is not a show just for mortgage professionals. This is everything I learned because I became a mortgage loan originator. This is the Loan Officer Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and a very special guest. He flew all the way from Phoenix, Arizona to Orlando, Florida. He is originally from Michigan, but he has raised his family in Arizona. He is an IT nerd turned mortgage marketing executive. When he's not working, you can find him out on the golf course, where this guy has had 5 career hole-in-ones, but uniquely 3 hole-in-ones have happened on the same exact hole. I originally met him at the gathering. Today, he is a guest of TLOP, and his company is a sponsor of our upcoming TLOP Unite Caribbean Takeover event. He is my new friend, the one, the only Josh Bopp. Josh, welcome to Loan Officer Podcast.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm excited that you are here. There's so many places that I want to jump into. Obviously, we're going to talk about your company, Aduvo. We're going to talk about what's on your shirt right now, close them, and then again, right? How 71% of specifically mortgage originators, but I'm guessing it's not just LOs and mortgage brokers. I'm guessing it's all people who are in business for themselves, don't do enough with the clients that they already have. And that's going to be the meat and the potatoes about what we talk about. But before we do, I want the audience to get to know you a little bit. So I jokingly and lovingly called you an IT nerd, and now I called you a mortgage marketing executive. But walk us through your background and your backstory as it pertains to your career in mortgage.
Sure. So in 2002, I started a IT services company in Phoenix, and it was really any work we get our hands on. Crawling under desks, plugging in workstations, building servers. Didn't care what the industry was, just trying to keep your doors open. And by 2004, 2005, we specialized just in mortgage. So that's all we did was Phoenix-based mortgage shops and
So
all their IT needs.
If you're a mortgage company in Phoenix, Arizona, back in the early 2000s,
Yep.
There's a good chance if I needed IT, whether it was a new server or whatever else IT does,
Yep.
my computer to be fixed if you're me, then I was calling your company.
You got it. Exactly.
Okay. And then you scaled that, though, because you scaled that into something that's a little bit larger than an IT company today.
Yeah, so we, over the years, morphed it, right? So
Okay.
what we did in the early years is we would build remote networks for larger shops so they could have member net branches, and nobody worked from home then, but they're literally emailing files back and forth, right? So we enabled them to have one server in a data center, and branch A, branch B, branch C would then be able to have that point file in one location.
Like, were you introducing your clients to the cloud before there really was?
They didn't call it the cloud.
They didn't call it the cloud.
They were petrified of it, right? Petrified of it. It's like, what do you mean my data's not in my back room, right? I mean, it was scary, right? But by 2007, 2008, kind of right at the crash time, we launched our first hosted product. So same basic concept, but we bought all the gear ourselves, had a rack at a data center in an old Arizona Republic building, and we just started slicing and dicing. It's like, hey, if you don't want to buy a server, just rent a little space from us for $50 a month, I think it was at the time.
I remember it's interesting because I had a net branch back in 2008, 2009,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I remember having to buy our first server.
Oh,
Back
yeah.
then, servers were like $7,000.
Oh, yeah. A good one was 10 grand. And I mean, this is like for a team of 5 people.
Correct.
Right? I mean, it was,
yes.
it was,
and
it
I
was
had the
big
IT
overkill.
professional James came by once a month to
Totally.
service the server, and it had to sit in a closet.
Yep.
And for us,
put your
back
tape
then,
in, take the tape back out.
yes, and for our $7,000, I mean, that was, well, I can either buy a server or I can invest in a CRM
Yep.
or I can pay payroll. I mean, it was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
And then you all obviously morphed out of needing physical servers in the office and said, look, we can do this more cost effective.
Yep.
Which is what you did. And today that company still exists, correct?
It does. Yeah. Focus IT is that company. We still host about 1,500 or so mortgage companies, small banks, credit unions, and really just host all the apps they need to run their business.
Okay. And are you also doing their daily or weekly maintenance?
We are, but it's it's kind of a different concept now. So they just, it's invisible to them. So we make sure that everything that they do is protected in the cloud, that it's compliant, that we have all the upgrades, the patches come in, like it's just invisible to them.
If something breaks, do they call you?
They do.
They do. So if something breaks, like today, my computer is broken.
Yep.
If I was a client, I'd be like, I wouldn't call you, but I'd call someone on your team saying, oh my gosh, I'm ready to throw my laptop into the lake.
Yep.
Can you please
My calendar's not syncing to my Zoom. Like, what do I do? Right.
Yes,
So
we talked about this earlier.
That's us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I like people knowing your backstory. I like any backstory. I think a good interview gets into the human element first, right?
Yeah.
It's why reality TV works so well. You're a dad, right? You have twins?
I have twins.
Okay. How old?
17.
Okay. I think I asked you this earlier. Which one's older?
Oscar is a little older.
Oscar's older. Okay.
Yeah, a few minutes.
But by a few minutes. So they're going to be seniors in high school?
No, they're going to be juniors.
Juniors in high school.
They were little tiny dudes when they were born, so we held them back for a bit and let them get a little bigger.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially with boys. I like that move.
Yeah.
Like, I look at my son who had a March birthday, and don't get me wrong, he's a 21-year-old well-adjusted kid, but it wouldn't have hurt him had we started kindergarten a year later.
Yeah.
Like, there's no part of him that would have been, like, impacted. And I think physically, for sports reasons, he probably would have preferred it.
Yep.
Right? Because he didn't really start filling out until his senior year. And he's like, oh, I would have loved to have been filling out my junior year and giving myself 2 years with this body and this strength, right? We're going to take a quick pause here for a second because we're going to have to pay some bills and listen to today's show sponsor. But when we come back, here's kind of what I want to be able to do. I'm going to ask you questions about the holes in one because I think that's freaking awesome. And the fact that you've had 5 in your career, 3 on one hole, I think is really cool. But we won't have much time to spend on that because I do want to give the people what they came for. And it's truly understanding how are they and where are they missing the mark in their business to where you and experts like you in your technology, in your platform can help them generate more referrals and more repeat business from the people that they already have. So if it's okay with you, we're going to touch on the holes in one for a minute. Then we're going to kind of really dive deep into the marketing aspect.
Great.
Cool. But first, a quick word from today's show sponsor. Check this out. Y'all, something big is happening at Lower Mortgage. And if you're paying attention to this industry, you've probably noticed. In just the last month alone, Lower has added some serious horsepower. We're talking top producers representing over $350 million in volume. These aren't rookies kicking tires. These are heavy hitters who've done their homework and made the move. That should tell you something. On top of that, Lower just acquired Movoto, a top 5 real estate portal with over 150 visitors just last year. Before that, they brought in Neat Labs and now they're launching Lower OS, a next-gen mortgage platform that's cutting loan delivery times down to 10 days. This isn't a company standing still. Lower doubled their volume last year and they're projecting another 40 to 50% growth this year. The best in the business are taking notice and they're voting with their feet. Here's the reality. The companies that are going to win in this market are the ones investing in technology, building real infrastructure, and competing at scale. Lower is doing all of that. They're going head to head with the Rockets of the world. And they're built for originators, not against them. If you're a producer who wants to be a part of something that's actually going somewhere, not just surviving, but growing, this is the moment. Lower mortgage, the momentum is real. All right, so Josh, we're back. The holes in one. Okay, you've had 5 in your lifetime. When was the first one?
When was the first one? It was
like roughly how old were you? Where were you in
Oh,
life?
it's funny because I've golfed. I got the bit by the bug when I was 8 or 9 years old. Had my first one when I was in my 40s. I had played nonstop golf for 30 some years before I had my first one, and then they just kept coming almost every year after that.
Wow. And what's the typical yardage? Like, what's the shortest hole in one you've ever had, and what's the longest hole in one you've ever had?
The shortest that I had was about 160 yards.
Okay, so that's not like a little 110. They had the tees moved up.
Flip wedge in your hand.
Yeah. Okay, so 160 was the shortest.
Yep. And longest was just over 200.
And then how do you celebrate a hole in one?
You buy everybody a drink.
That's it.
That's it.
Do you have to shotgun them or anything, or just?
You don't have to shotgun them, but you come into the grill afterwards. Usually word spreads, and
Okay.
The cart girl's out there and she's already dishing stuff out. But you come into the grill and you get a bunch of claps because everybody, word spreads fast, and that's it. You buy a drink.
What a cool
whatever anybody wants.
What a cool feeling.
Yeah.
So let's talk about why you really came here, right? And that's to spread the gospel according to Aduvo.
Sure.
And Aduvo is your company that you launched 2 years ago.
That's right.
Right. And what is Aduvo doing right now for specifically your mortgage clients?
Sure. So we bill ourselves as automated marketing for mortgage teams.
Okay.
That's it in 5 words. And the why behind it is we help turn your past clients into repeat closings. That's it.
And how are you doing this? Because, I have found throughout my career, coaching loan officers, being a loan officer, running branches, wherever the case may be, that there's a gold mine that we're all sitting on. Some people call it a data bank.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to call it your portfolio.
Great.
Right? Because a portfolio is something you manage, right? So a portfolio is something you log into, whether it's an E-Trade account, a Charles Schwab account, your 401k, your IRA. But your past client database is just that. But so few originators actually put forth the time and the effort. Have you all done any research as to why you feel like originators as a whole aren't massaging, working, marketing to their past clients?
I don't know if research is exactly the right word, but I can tell you anecdotally, we've had a lot of conversations through the years.
Okay.
Both at Focus IT, the old business, and at Aduvo, the new SaaS business. It's just the effort, right? Everybody wants to do it. Everybody knows they should do it. A lot of people will start doing it, and then it just dies on the vine because you're in the business of closing loans and talking to clients. You're not in the business of sending emails and text messages and doing all the other marketing pieces that you want to do and don't have the technical capacity to do.
Yeah, I would tell someone 9 times out of 10 is because they didn't study business. They didn't go to school for marketing, and everyone thinks they have to do things themselves. And it's like, no, if you read books like Dan Martell's Buy Back Your Time, he'll tell you you don't need a who, you don't need a how, you need a who, right? Or 10x is easier than 2x, right? Like any books on scalings will tell you. It's not about finding a how do I do this. It's like, no, who on my team is going to do this? Yet so few of us focus on it. We focus on talking to the next borrower, answering that realtor's question, making sure disclosures go out, making sure my CD gets signed on time, making sure the LE is accurate, et cetera, right?
Yep.
Those
You're dealing
are
with
the
today's
things.
problems.
Yeah.
That's what we all do.
Yet that's not the green time that's going to actually allow you to increase your income and to allow you to actually work smarter versus harder. I think I asked you this, but I didn't allow you to fully answer it. You've had Aduvo up and running for 2 years. But what was the catalyst behind it? Like what prompted you all, an IT company, to study the landscape, look at a void, and say, you know what, I'm going to go solve that void?
Sure. So we had created another product at Focus IT called Pulse, and it was a true mortgage CRM. That's what it did. Had it for 8-9 years, and I decided it was time to grow that. It was always kind of a secondary line item to everything else that we did. And when we went and looked at the more modern LOSs in the environment, because it was really just for stuff that we hosted at the time, very captive audience, it became pretty apparent pretty quick what we had built was not going to talk to the modern LOS. And rather than just take what we had and rebuild it, we hit the pause button and we talked to customers. We talked to current customers, former customers. What'd you love? What'd you hate about Pulse? And what the message that kept coming up over and over and over again was, we love the automations that you've built for us, but we don't use the other stuff. Like we don't manage our pipelines in Pulse. We don't do the tasks and the calendar syncs and all. It's like we like that we don't have to log into it, right? And we also found that about 70% of our users never logged into the product, and they were our happiest customers because it just ran and ran and ran in the background. So it's like, all right, we're going to rebuild this thing from scratch. We're going to make sure it talks to Encompass and LendingPad and Arrive and all the modern LOSs out there, but we're just going to do the automations. Like that's it, and that's really what we built.
So you wouldn't call your product a CRM?
I would not. Our customers love to call it a CRM, but I call it marketing automation. I view it running in parallel to a good CRM, not in lieu of a good CRM.
Okay, so studying the success of your product and of your best users, for those that are tuning in, those are whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening in on Spotify or Apple, like what are some things that the modern originator is not doing that your system can do for them? And I want you to answer this in a way that it's like, look, if you didn't partake in our system, that's okay, but you're going to need to do X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And if you do X, Y, and Z, these are the intended results if you do it for long enough. So kind of there's 3 questions in there.
Okay.
First is, what should originators be doing if they don't want to go out and spend more money on leads or try to generate more referral partners, but they want to get more out of what they already have? What do they need to be doing? And then the follow-up is, how long should they be doing that for?
Okay.
And then the third was, what type of marketing should they be doing?
Okay. So on the what should they be doing, 1 to 2 touches a month. Your customers, your past customers, need to be hearing from you. And the reason why, if you don't do any kind of communication to them, after a little over a year, they're going to forget you. Like it's just that simple. You know, there's survey after survey after survey, both in the mortgage world and just in the general marketing world. Like that's it, right? And you invested a lot of time and a lot of money to get them to the closing table. If you're not dripping to them once or twice a month, a year later they're gone, right?
And are these emails, text messages, phone calls?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
It really doesn't matter. They just need to hear from you. You can put a postcard in the mail. You can send an email. You can pick up the phone and call them. Like whatever it is, you got to be there once to twice a month.
So what type of marketing are you all pushing out right now?
We're email and text marketing.
You're email and text.
Yep.
And do you have a certain cadence that you're following? Is any part of it market specific, or is it data driven, or is it?
It's all of the above. So we've got the generalist, right, which is holidays. Such an easy thing to do, right?
Yeah.
There's 19 a year that we touch, right? The second is a newsletter. So we write it, we curate it, one for borrowers, one for realtors. There's 2 touches right there, and it was almost no effort, right? Because it's just going to hit your inbox. You're going to see your name, even if they don't open it. What they saw was Dio in my inbox twice a month, forever. So when they come time for that refi, it's like, oh yeah, I get that guy's emails. I mean, it's not rocket science. And then we do have market-based as well. So, you know, rates are moving around. If there's a loan program that you want to let people know about, we've got all that content in there. So our head content writer has been in the marketing space for 20 years and a mortgage marketer in particular the last 10 at a big lender in Phoenix.
So then you're able to break out not just past clients, but you're also breaking out real estate agents, because you said you have 2 different types of newsletters.
That's right.
So your recommendation to loan originators is that they need to have communication that goes out to their referral base, which typically is real estate agents.
Yep.
But then they also need to have communication that's going out to their past clients.
That's right.
Are you like, what about my friends and my family, my ex-coworkers and my neighbors? Like, am I also marketing to them? Can I treat them as if they're already a past client?
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so you have a marketing system that if I were to partake in it, I'm assuming I could dump that data in there as well.
That's right.
Because that data is not going to pull from Calix, or it's not going to pull from Arrive or LendingPad, because they're just my friends, family, coworkers, and neighbors. But I can still put them into your system.
That's right.
And then start treating them as if, and then they can get the various marketing that's done for me.
Yep.
What's working best right now?
What's working best right now, I would say that our open rates, just from a pure email marketing perspective, are the absolute highest on our newsletter. And the
Okay.
newsletter is not market specific. We'll drop a piece of market intel in there if there's something really interesting going on. But it's pretty basic stuff. It's recipes, it's home ownership, the value of home ownership, all these different content that a residential person finds interesting, right? It's not necessarily promoting you as the end all be all expert, because these transactions are years apart, right? 7, 8, 9 years right now to get these apart. It's about getting your name in their inbox, and if they open it, that's even better, right? That they can attribute your beautiful signature, your logo at the top, and a piece of content that they're interested in.
TLOP Unite is not your typical mortgage event. This is the first ever TLOP cruise experience built exclusively for originators. And for 4 days, it's not about the speakers, it's about you. We're talking breakout strategy sessions, real conversations, curated events, and uninterrupted access to a community that helps you grow. If you're serious about taking your career to the next level, this is where you need to be. Space is limited and the price is right. So click the link now and learn more.
Are you using texting for past client marketing as well?
Not as much, more on the realtor side. If there's something interesting going on, it's more in-process loans. So we also do loan status alerts,
Okay.
especially to the realtors, right? So a lot of borrowers are indifferent to the text because there's not a lot of context to your appraisal was ordered. They know what that means. But you know who knows what it means? The realtors, right? And they don't want a 3-paragraph explanation as to what an appraisal is. They want a one-liner that Josh's appraisal was ordered, and that just cut down a phone call back to that loan officer.
Yeah, I have found, as an originator, but also coaching originators, that anytime you can automate prospect marketing and process marketing,
Yep.
as well as post-closing marketing, right? It's the difference between good and great.
Yep.
Look, in a perfect world, when I look at prospect marketing, which I know is not really you all, but it kind of falls into the same conversation. The automated emails and texts that are going out probably aren't as good as you picking up the phone and calling someone. You actually texting that agent or calling that agent and giving them an update. However, most of us in this industry get quote unquote too busy. Too busy is my way of saying you're not disciplined. You don't have the right systems and processes. You haven't built out a team. You haven't probably read Gino Wickman's book Traction. Like, you don't know what EOS is, and you're not going to do it. But if you can have a machine or a process or a system behind the scenes doing it for you, it's better than doing nothing. But then I look at in process, and in process is our opportunity to wow, right? In process is our opportunity to have the agent who referred us say, you know what? They do a good job.
Yep.
But more specifically, the listing agent, this is our audition. This is the lowest hanging fruit we're ever going to have in terms of making a call to a real estate agent to schedule a meeting. But we need to make sure that we do a good job. And doing a good job isn't just closing on time, right? Doing a good job is the intro call when the offer gets accepted to introduce yourself to the listing agent. But then it's the communication that's going on during the process, whether it's a 14-day process or a 45-day process. Now, if I'm coaching you, you're supposed to make your Tuesday status update calls, right? Those are sales calls. However, if you ever get too busy or you forget or you go on vacation, you'll have a product that it's like, look, behind the scenes, we can do this for you. And then obviously post-closing, that's the one thing that I look back in my career and I'm going to tell you there's $1 million of commission I personally left on the table because I didn't do a good enough job of staying in front of my past client database.
Yep.
Right? I didn't treat it like it was a portfolio. No one had ever shared the gimmicky phrase, oh, it's a data bank, right? It's a bank. You got to be able to make deposits and then you can later do withdrawals.
Right.
But when I look at it that way, now if I want to go with the cheesy, it's a data bank, and you want to use you got to make deposits before you make withdrawals, based on your experience, how many months, weeks, or even years should I anticipate having to make my deposits before I can make a withdrawal? Meaning, can I just start doing this type of marketing and in 90 days see results? Or when should I expect to start seeing results?
You might see some initial positive noise in that first 90 days. Someone replies to an email, or especially on the loan in process, the realtor says, wow, the loan officer I was using is not doing this. This is great. Those are anecdotal, in my opinion. The the longer term is, again, think of the duration or the time period between the typical mortgage transaction today. It's years. It's 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So being consistent with marketing, again, great if you buy Aduvo, great if you subscribe to it, but being consistent with any kind of marketing over that long haul, over the 5, 7, 8 year period, it will pay dividends, and it will every month, every year build on itself until it's an engine, until it's a flywheel, just turning and turning and turning and turning. But it is not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, I would agree with you. To me, it's a game of chess that we're playing, right? It's the whole saying you have to be able to see the forest through the trees.
Yep.
Like, I'm not looking for instant gratification. I'm trying to say this is my identity as a business operator.
Yep.
I teased this in the opening. Like, every client, there's a cost to acquire that client, right? We paid something, whether we paid it with time, we paid it with lunch and learns we were hosting, coffee appointments that we were paying for, but there was a cost associated to get that lead in the door, convert that lead into a loan, and then that loan becomes a past client.
Yep.
So there's a cost to acquire, and then there's a lifetime value. Most of us in the mortgage industry know LTV as loan to value.
Right.
But you and I in the business world know it as lifetime value. And for most of us, here's the mistake we're making in our career. The lifetime value of our client is whatever we made on that one loan.
That's right.
However, I'm here to tell you, it's like, no, there's a lifetime value that client's probably going to do at least 2, if not 3 more transactions, depending on where you found them in the home buying cycle, that you're thinking of this as a $4,000 commission check today. I'm telling you, that could be a $20,000 lifetime value if you're doing something with it.
Yep.
Right? And your cost to acquire can be much higher when you understand your lifetime value. But if you're one of these LOs, that lifetime value is your one and done, you can't really afford to spend a whole lot to acquire them. And when I say spending money to acquire, that could be in MSAs, that could be in shared branch P&Ls with brokerages, that could be in leads that you're buying, events that you're hosting. You can afford to spend more money up front if you're doing a better job on the back end to convert one client into 3, and meaning it's the same client coming back to you multiple times. If there was something that someone was maybe writing down, I would write down, what's my cost to acquire? That's something most loan originators have never even thought about. And then more specifically, what's the lifetime value of my client?
Yep.
And your lifetime value right now is probably 1 transaction, but Josh and I are trying to tell you it should be 2 to 3, let alone, I'm going to ask you this, what are y'all doing to help get that past client to refer their friends and family?
Yeah,
like, what does that look like?
Yeah, exactly. So and it's a lot of the same. I mean, it's consistency in your inbox. It's consistency in whatever messaging that you're sending out there. When a family member says, "Hey, and I'm in market, I'm looking for refinance, or I'm looking to buy a home. Who did you use last time, Dio?" I mean, if you can't remember, like that's it. You lost the opportunity, right? So it's remembering who funded that loan. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. I used Josh for that last loan. You should give him a call.
Do you have specific marketing yet that's going out that's trying to lay the seed, talk about the reticular activator, and then ask the past client to keep us, the lender, top of mind when they do have a friend, family?
Sure. And part of that is really just how we onboard somebody. So something that's unique about the product is we onboard you in less than an hour, right? I mean, there's not another marketing platform in the industry that it's usually measured in a week, sometimes months, right? But part of that process is capturing all of those call to actions. What's your apply now, what's your referral link, what's your Google reviews link. That's all part of every single message that we send out. It's always branded as from the loan officer, beautiful signature, beautiful calls to action that are very crystal clear. So there's no mistaking what you're asking of that individual if they want to take action in that message.
Yeah, because here's the thing. If you weren't spending money on your marketing, which I would ask, who are you spending money on? Right? I mean, the first place you should spend money, if you're going to spend money, in my opinion, and yes, I say this self-servingly, but it's on coaching. Like, a good coach can help you get through that first barrier of how do I structure my day? How do I structure my week? What do I prioritize? How do I script? How do I build the base that I need, that I'm now generating 20, 30 leads a month? I'm now closing 4 to 5 loans a month. I'm now making the money, but I also have new problems. My new problems are, oh crap, I have all these past clients. What am I going to do with them?
Yep.
But like once you're through that barrier of, okay, I spent money on a coach or on a course, and I now know how to grow run and operate my own book of business. It's like, where are you going to put your money next? And if you're not putting your money anywhere, I'm going to ask you, are you really running a business? Right? Most people, they're not. So you don't have to put your money into back-end marketing. You can put your money into front-end marketing. You can put your money into events. But if you weren't put into back-end marketing, you're going to have a hard time really exponentially growing that lifetime value.
That's right.
So if you didn't want to use a service, then look, here's what you can do. You have to make sure you celebrate everyone's birthday.
Yep.
You have to make sure you do annual mortgage reviews. And at a minimum, I would have you sending some kind of a email communication that celebrated spring equinox and something that would celebrate Thanksgiving holiday, right? Because both of those are pretty neutral, right? They're not. You're not going to get somebody that's like, oh, I don't believe in what you believe in. It's very easy. Look, spring's in the air. Let's get a nice message out to our database about spring and what it means. Oh, it's Thanksgiving. Let's give some kind of a gratitude message to these people about what they mean to me. And if I'm doing this on my own, if I celebrate their birthday, I offer an annual mortgage review, I send something out around the spring equinox and something else out around Thanksgiving, that's 4 touch points. Now, I'm going to tell you that you should also send a quarterly video market update. So a video market update, whether you use a BombBomb or a code video, you're going to record yourself giving a 3-minute or less update on the market. And it's here's what happened, both in real estate, the U.S. economy, and in mortgage rates. Here's what we expect to happen. Some kind of a compliment, gratitude, call to action, and that's it. And then you send that's 4 quarters in a year. You have 8 touch points. The problem is I can teach you how to do it, but I can't do it for you.
Yep.
Like I, as Dustin Owen, as your coach, cannot do that for you. I can walk you through exactly how to do it, but I can't do it for you. And most of you won't do anything, which means most of you are stuck with a lifetime value of basically whatever you made the first time you closed the loan. I'm curious if somebody wanted to pay a company to do their post-closing marketing for them, what does something like that look like cost-wise?
If you're going to hire a professional to do it, it's probably a couple $1,000s a month. On the Aduvo side, it's $99 a month.
Yeah, so I could go hire a marketing assistant.
Yep.
I could onboard them onto my team.
Yep.
And I'd probably be paying them $20 an hour. Right? And they could do all the things that I just mentioned they 100%. Could do.
Yep.
And maybe they can help me out with maybe hosting my events, keeping my lead tracker, maybe even following up with leads.
Yep.
Right? That's something that they could do for basically $20 an hour, 30, 40 hours a week. Or
if you're a licensed originator who's closing loans, but you're not consistent, this is for you. If you're brand new or just looking for motivation, trust me, this is not for you. Most LOs don't need more information. They need structure. They need proven processes and somebody to hold them accountable. TLOP's Originator Coaching gives you weekly live coaching, scripts top producers actually use, and step-by-step business systems you can implement immediately. Not someday, we're talking day one. You're not watching videos alone. You're executing in real time with other originators who take this seriously. Right now, you can try it free for 2 weeks. That's 2 full weeks for free. You'll sit in on live coaching calls. You'll get access to the frameworks and see exactly how top producers run their business. If it creates clarity, if it creates momentum, or even if it puts wins on the board, you keep going. If it doesn't, no worries, you can cancel. No pressure at all. Click the link, start the 2-week trial, and finally, build this like a business, not a side hustle.
If I didn't want to spend that type of coin, you said a service like Aduvo is what?
$99 per loan officer per month.
$99. So if I'm a single originator, a mortgage broker,
Yep.
You're saying for $1,200 a year, essentially.
That's right.
If I do my math right,
Yep.
that I, at a minimum, am going to have my entire database marketed to.
Yep.
Right? My database is my past clients. It could also be my real estate agents. It could also be my friends, family, ex-coworkers, or neighbors.
Yep.
And they're going to get how many pieces of marketing?
2 to 3 a month.
2 to 3 a month.
Yep.
So roughly 24 to 36 pieces of marketing are going to go out.
Yep.
And then as a bonus, you mentioned something about in-process marketing.
Right.
Do I get that as well, or is that
You
an
do.
added? as well, like
As well.
kind of like a bonus.
Yep.
Okay, so if I did the math right, the average originator probably making $3,600 net on their transactions. We get some that are making less. We get some that are making way more, right? But if I just said between Spokane and Key West, everywhere in between, I would guess that $3,600 is a conservative but accurate average commission per loan.
Yep.
So you told me that past client marketing is a bit of a long game,
Yep.
right? It's not an instant gratification game.
It is not an instant gratification.
But if I was willing to commit to $99 a month for the next 36 months, my question to the audience would be this. Do you really think you wouldn't close at least one loan in 3 years? I mean, my guess is you would close at a minimum one extra loan per quarter, preferably one extra loan per month once you allow the system to work for you. Like once you get 6 and 9 months into this and your database is A, growing because you're doing more loans, you're meeting more people, but B, they're consistently hearing from you.
Yep.
Even if, only 50% open, those 50% was 0% when you sent nothing.
Right.
Right? So you get 50% open rate. That's 50% of the people are opening what you send, which means they're being reminded of who you are, what you do for a living, how you serve your community, and how to get a hold of you.
Mm-hmm.
And the ROI is ridiculous because you only need to close one incremental loan over 3 years for it to pay for itself. So then what's the hang up? What would prevent someone from wanting to do this?
That's a good question. What does prevent them? I think at the moment, people don't know we exist, right? We're new to the market. We get a lot of head nodding during our demos. Oh yeah, I've been looking at this for a while and I've given up, right? Most of our happiest customers have tried to do what we do with other products and failed, right?
Yeah.
It's too hard. It's too complicated. It's too expensive. It's like, I'll send emails when I can and I'll send the market updates when I can. And they do the best job that they can with the time and the skills that they've got. So this is kind of a breath of fresh air. So there's not a lot of people that are uninterested in our product once they learn about our product, but we're new. We're just trying to let people know that we exist and what we're in the business of doing.
Yeah, my answer would have been like from a practical standpoint, you're going to get plenty of naysayers who are like, I'm not going to send some recipe to my past client, right? Like they're going to, I'm not going to send something generic. I'm like, cool, then what are you going to send? Like what are you going to send? And like, well, I got this really good idea written back here on this piece. I'm like, cool. When is it going to get sent?
Yeah.
And then here's what we find. And I coach and teach this. Perfection is the enemy of done.
Yep.
Like what I love about your approach and with the service that you offer is, man, y'all get shit done.
Well, Lindsay is our chief content writer, and she spent 10 years at a mortgage lender, and she almost word for word had that same conversation with hundreds of loan officers through the year, which is, hey guys, sending something is way better than sending nothing. Don't wait until you've got the perfect whatever, the perfect market update, the perfect whatever. You just send it.
Yeah.
Just send it.
And for me, I'm a value guy, right? Like I think it's where you and I kind of hit it off. Like my coaching community, which is the number one value, was built around value, right? It's like, where can you spend $3,000 a year yet have access, like you can actually talk to these men and women, access to a top producing coach 5 days a week.
Nowhere.
Like nowhere. Like we built it for
Exactly.
that reason. I'm not saying that there aren't coaching companies out there that have been around for 20 years and have had, helped create thousands of millionaires because they exist and I respect them and I'm probably friends with the people. But when it comes to value, in terms of like, hey, we get shit done, we give you access, like we built it. I love what you all are building, and I know you're just getting started. Like I can only imagine what the product looks like in 2 years and 3 years, and what the marketing looks like. But for many that are tuned in, like take this word of advice: perfection is the enemy of done. If you weren't going to use Aduvo, right, and you were going to do it on your own, that's fine, totally good. If you want to write your own newsletter, here's exactly what I'd coach you to do: sit down and put on some kind of like an egg timer or a stopwatch or an alarm. You have 40 minutes to write and send the best newsletter you can.
Yep.
40. That's it. I'm getting ready to coach a masterclass tomorrow, and I'm going to walk people through how to do lunch and learns, how to do virtual like workshops, home buying workshops, host happy hours, and do client events. And the number one issue people have when doing lunch and learns and why they don't do them is they have the steps backwards. They think step 1 is write my presentation.
Okay.
Step 5, the last step is write your presentation. Right? Step 1 is you pick your date and your location. Step 2 actually is you pick your partner. Step 2 is you pick your date and location. Step 3 is actually invite like crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And then you get to, oh crap, what am I going to actually present? So I share that in the way that it correlates to what you're saying is most loan originators don't do lunch and learns because they approach it the wrong way. Right? They approach it as, oh, I have to do all this work up front, and they never do it. Most loan originators don't send a newsletter because they think it has to be perfect.
Right.
They don't send past client marketing because they want it to be amazing. Yet we're here to tell you 2 people have been very successful in business outside of mortgage even that know what you need to do is get it done.
Consistency.
Get it done. Be consistent.
Yep.
Yes, it needs to be professional. Yes, it needs to have a certain quality to it. It needs to include some CTA, some calls to action.
Yep.
But if your choice is to do nothing or to do something, do something. Let me ask you this, Josh, and we can maybe find a way to put a bow on it. What are some other tips, tricks, or best practices that we haven't covered that you'd want to share with the audience?
Well, let's see. A couple. You mentioned annual mortgage review, which is great. Coupling it with the closing date's loan anniversary, right? I mean, it's such low-hanging fruit, and it's a built-in mechanism to really pick up the phone, right? Like, and we've got automations for that, but it's like, hey, I want to thank you for being a client. Last 5 years, can you imagine? It's been 5 years you've been in your. It's just such easy low-hanging fruit. The other is a big one of Lindsay's again, which is at the 6-month mark, the big box lenders are coming after your clients when they close. Pick up the phone and call them at 5 months or 5.5 months. Like, hey, this is just about to happen. Explaining why you're still the expert. Hey, just make sure that you don't fall into what seems like a good deal. I'm here to guide you through that process, right? So let's do quick, easy ones.
Does your product have a service where it will send me an alert that I should make a phone call?
It does.
It does. So like I can program it to say, call me at day, what would that be? Day 150.
Yep.
Or, alert me when to call so-and-so for their birthday.
Yep.
Alert me to call so-and-so on their annual. Like, to me, the annual mortgage review is done on their loan anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the best practice. If I didn't specify that, thank you for specifying, because it's that one time a year where I can call them, thank them, and also say, hey, you probably don't know this is a thing, but we need to make sure that the loan I did for you at the time, I know is the best loan that you qualified for based on where you were in life and based on where the market was. Well, Your life has changed, the market has changed, so every single year we just need to do a quick look back and see, is your current loan still the best loan for you based on where you are in life and where the market is?
Yep.
And I tell clients, like 7 times out of 10, the answer is yes, but won't you sleep better at night knowing that your current loan is still the best loan? 3 times out of 10, I may be able to save you money. And some of that money is life-changing money. Or maybe to offer you a different solution that is going to allow you to generate more wealth. And isn't generating wealth really one of the benefits of homeownership? So we have to do these calls. And then, yes, I like knowing that you're going to send an email, but you're also going to send me an alert. So the alert's going to ping me to say, hey, by the way, it's Josh Bopp's mortgage anniversary. Make sure you call him, email him, text him to get him on your calendar so you can do the annual review.
Yep.
Cool. These are 2 questions that I typically ask guests. They're not really mortgage related, but they're just fun ways to put a bow on the episode. What is one piece of advice, you're raising your boys right now, that you make sure you give them, whether it's about life or business, and maybe it wasn't something that was taught to you in school or taught to you growing up, but you had to learn it the hard way?
Had to learn it the hard way, huh? Well, I can tell you with my boys, trying to teach them the value of persistence, patience, and just grinding, right? I mean, the most successful people I know in my life are not the smartest people I know in my life. There are those that have just been at it and persistent and grinding for months and years and years and years. I really try and instill that in my kids, which is to say, don't quit. Like, don't give up. If there's that goal that you need to get to and you want to get to, you got to break it down into these little pieces, and you just got to keep after it. What's one of your favorite books you've ever read? Well, you already mentioned it, but Traction is my all-time favorite business book. Good to Great's probably my second, but man, I've probably read Traction 8 times.
I'm rereading it for the second time now. I'm 47 years old. It was introduced to me a year ago.
Okay.
And I look back and I say, why didn't I read this 10 years ago?
It's just amazing.
It's really a lot, by the way.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's not sexy to read at all. And it's really, I'll tell y'all, it's only great for those that are running branches and above.
Yeah.
Right? If you're running branches and above, or you're building out a team and you're going to have an LOA plus a processor, maybe even like a loan partner, at that standpoint, you should read it and understand it. But so few, even company operators, understand EOS. They haven't read Traction. Their team hasn't read what the heck is EOS.
Yep.
That is definitely my jam right now. Like that's you met my business partner Mike earlier. He's our CMO, but he's also our Traction expert.
Okay.
So he runs our L10 meetings.
Awesome.
And yeah, he's even cross training Mark, who you also met. And we're trying to get Mark like certified in Traction. Like we want Mark to know it so well. So Traction, and the other one was what? Good to Great?
Good to Great.
Who wrote that?
Jim Collins.
Jim Collins.
Old book. I'm trying to think of when it was. Might be 90s, but early 2000s. But it was really just a historical look at companies that literally went from good to great and what they had in common, right?
Okay.
And what are those common traits across time even. Some stretch back 100 years, some are kind of newer entities. But anyway,
I'm
it's
going to have to add that
fascinating.
one to my list. If people want to get a hold of you, Josh, how do they get a hold of you, or how do they find out more about Aduvo?
Well, Aduvo.com, best way to find out about Aduvo. Get a hold of me, Josh at Aduvo.com. Always happy to talk.
And then those that aren't watching us on YouTube, by the way, if you're not watching us on YouTube, make sure you go to our YouTube channel and click subscribe. We have hundreds of additional pieces of free content, coaching, sales, training, etc. on the YouTube channel that you can't find on Spotify and Apple. But Aduvo is spelled Aduvo. And here's something really cool. Because Aduvo is a sponsor of the TLOP Unite Caribbean Takeover event, this is our first ever mortgage sales event. We're taking over the Caribbean. We're taking 150 mortgage professionals to the Bahamas September 14th through 18th. But you keep on talking about Lindsay, right? All through the podcast, everything was Lindsay. Lindsay's going to be on the cruise.
Yes, she is.
Lindsay's going to be speaking from the main stage. We have one day dedicated to our sales summit at sea. The rest of this event is all about networking, breakout sessions, and mastermind. Like we're doing private beach bashes. We're doing sunset sail away cruises. I'm going to be podcasting from a tiki bar in the Bahamas. And we're even trying to get that set up to where it's like maybe unlimited Sands light beer while we're podcasting for anybody who'd want to come watch my team and I do our thing. But if you're looking for a really cool sales conference to attend, go over to our website, which is tloponline.com. That's TLOPonline.com. The event is called Unite, so you'll want to look at the Unite event tab. You can find out all about this sales summit at sea that we're doing, this Caribbean takeover, and you can come hang out and learn directly from Lindsay with Aduvo because they are one of our sponsors. He's Josh Bopp. I'm Dustin Owen. That's all the time we have for you today, but we do look forward to catching you on the next episode. Peace.